Blogtalk Radio.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Closer Encounters, the show where you, the listener, is also the guest. I am your host, Clarence Mitchell, coming to you live from somewhere in Minnesota. Closer Encounters is streaming live from Blogtalk Radio. We are also live on Facebook, YouTube, and Google Hangout. For all of our newest updates, check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Closer Encounters Radio. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. Would you like to be a special guest on Closer Encounters? Or do you know somebody that would like to be a special guest on Closer Encounters? Then just shoot us an email at closerencounters.info@gmail.com. That's closerencounters.info@gmail.com. Have you ever witnessed a UFO? Or seen something that you just cannot explain? Or maybe you've had your very own closer encounter. You believe in the ancient alien theory? We talk about this and much, much more. If you have a story, or maybe a question that you would like to get answered, give us a call. The number here is 347-989-1008. Again, the number 347-989-1008. Give us a call here at Closer Encounters. I'd love to talk to you. Well, hello everybody and good evening and welcome back to Closer Encounters, the show where you, the listener, is also the guest. We have an awesome show going to happen tonight. Everything works, it's just magical. I don't know, how else to put it. Things happened to, this morning, and everything just kind of fell into place. As you know, last night on our show, towards the end, we were talking about the crystal skulls, and I said, that would be a good topic for tonight, and I got up early this morning, made a post about it, and put out the invites and everything, and got the thing going, put post out, and all of a sudden I got an instant message from a person who is well into this, knows this thing personally. Fantastic thing that happened. And so I did an update real quick and put it out there so everybody knows that we do have a special guest tonight. And she is here with us now. And I'd like to introduce her, ladies and gentlemen, Carole Davis. Of all people to have with us. How are you, Carole?
I'm good, and thank you for the welcome. Yes, things do fall into place when you're talking about, certainly the Mitchell-Hedges skull. It has a way of working that is wondrous.
Absolutely. We also have another special guest with us. I believe it's Bill Homann. Is that right?
Homann.
Bill Homann.
Yes.
And I'm going to boot him up here real quick. In case you guys don't know who this is now the original owner, or is the owner, of the Mitchell-Hedges skull as we speak. So if I can get him up here. Bill, you with us, sir?
Yes, I'm there.
Ah, fantastic. I'm glad to have you. Thank you very much for calling in tonight. Fantastic.
Oh, my pleasure. Yep.
I'd
love to work with Carole for sure.
Oh, fantastic. I just can't believe how this came about. This is unbelievable. Things happen for a reason, folks, and this is what goes on, and it's just amazing. Just amazing. Oh, so where do we start, Carole?
Well, I can't hear what Bill's saying or anybody else, but that's okay. I'll tell you a little bit of my background and how I came to meet up with the skull. Back in the 80s, probably around 79, 78, some people that knew of my work, I guess I can say now, with various police agencies, etc., asked me if I would be interested in going to see the crystal skull. My background is also medical, and I said, a skull made of crystal, thinking crystal glass, and I said, well, not really. And
right.
Just kind of left it there. And a few weeks later, they came back and said to me, well, you sure you don't want to go and see the crystal skull? And I said, well, what is it about? And they said, well, it was an archaeological find. And then bells and whistles went off. And I said, oh, really? And they said they don't know how old it is. And now I was extremely interested.
Right.
And they said, maybe you can find out with psychometry. And I thought, well, this is the Holy Grail I've been looking for. And I was quite sure that I was going to walk into this crystal skull and it was going to jump up and down and say, I've been waiting for you all my life. But what actually happened on the way up there, the woman said, well, be very careful that you don't mention anything psychic because the lady that owns the skull doesn't like psychics. And I thought, oh, great. That's marvelous.
Yes.
So why am I going there? And so now I was a bit confused and sort of a little worried. Anyway, I got to the house and the lady opened the door and we said hello and she said, oh, you're English. And I said, actually, I'm Welsh. Well, her very dear friend and secretary was Welsh, so immediately there was a connection.
Wow.
And from that minute on, I had the most interesting life and a very dear friend with both Anna and her secretary for many, many years. And to get back to the skull, I walked into the room and it was sitting on a table and I looked at it and it looked at me and there was absolutely nothing. And I thought, oh my goodness, it's a very beautiful object and a piece of art, but
right.
I just kept looking at it thinking, well, it doesn't do anything. It was just sitting there looking at you. And anyway, we had to have tea, and Anna Mitchell-Hedges, Sammy, to her friends, she said, well, would you like to touch it? And I said, no, really? And she said, well, I'll put it down here and you can look closer at it. And I'm thinking, I can't say anything psychic, but then it sort of came out what I did because she asked me, and that was fine. And they put it on a little table in front of me, and the rest sat around in a circle and were looking and saying, oh, do you see this? And do you see that? And, oh, I see this face and I see this whatever. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this is the Emperor's new clothes because I don't see a damn thing. It's just sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And I don't know what to say. So what I actually did was I put my arm on the armrest and I put my head to the side and closed my eyes. And I thought, because they kept saying, Carole, what do you see? Carole, what do you think? And I want to upset anybody and say, I don't see a damn thing. And so I closed my eyes, and I thought, they'll think I'm doing something profound and they'll leave me alone.
Right.
But they did.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
the next thing I knew, I thought, oh, I'd fallen asleep and I'd been snoring because I heard this noise, and I sort of jolted awake, as it were, and they were saying, that was phenomenal. That was, wow. And I said, yes. They said, did you hear it? And I said, hear what? And they clicked on a tape recorder, and this voice, which sounded nothing like mine, emanated. And I said, where did this come from? And they said, well, from you. I said, didn't I? I was quite adamant that this wasn't me, and I didn't say anything. And they said, yes, you did, and this is the information that came out. And I was freaked out somewhat. I had never been in that state of deep hypnosis, if you will, or lack of control.
Right.
And I wasn't too happy about that. But the information that poured out was very interesting. And I sort of, being very uneasy and not happy with the situation, I kind of said, oh, well, okay, and goodbye and thank you, and left there thinking I never want to go back to be anywhere near that object. I don't know what it is, but anyway, as the skull works, shall we say, sometime later, some other people called and said, oh, would you come with us to see the crystal skull? Because the lady said she'll only let us see it if you're with us.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, no, I don't want to. No, I'm not going to do that. And they were persuasive, and cut a long story short, I went up there. This time I looked at the skull, and I swore that it smiled. And I said, please don't bring it near me. Just leave it over there, and you people take your photographs and do whatever it is you want to do, but don't bring it near me. And Sammy, bless her heart, she said, the skull likes you. I thought, yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Now, Sammy is Anne, right? Anna?
Anna Mitchell-Hedges, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Anna told us, many things that had gone on with the skull, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, And I hear this whistling, and after a while I said, do you have a whistling kettle? Because I think you've left it on. And sort of people turned to me and said, what do you hear? We don't hear anything. And I said, you don't hear that whistle? And it was a high-pitched, it was more than a whistling kettle, but very audible, not something in my head. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody said, well, you should go over and sit near the skull, it'll take it away. Wrong. That was what I shouldn't have done, because again, I sat next to the skull, and the next thing I know, I woke up and I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. And they're staring at me like, really? And I said, what happened? And they said, click, listen to this. And again, there was a whole pouring out of information, things that I couldn't possibly have known.
Oh, my goodness.
And I looked at the skull, and I looked at Sammy, and she said, you have, she was French Canadian, and in her beautiful little accent, she said, you have work for the skull to do. And I said, I don't think so. Not me. No, I don't think so. Anyway, that's my first introduction to the skull, and from then on, yes, we did a lot of phenomenal and fantastic things, and as Bill will tell you, recently we've both been getting pushed and pushed and pushed by the energy of this skull that we have to do some more work.
Right.
But the world has changed now, and I don't know, it's very different. But I'm sure that people want to ask questions as regarding this idea that the skull is fake. So,
right.
If there's any questions, I will do my best to answer them, as I'm sure Bill will.
Okay, fantastic. Awesome. So I got to ask you, how many times would you say you've actually visited the skull itself?
Oh, wow. Well, I even stayed with Sammy like for a week and weekends, and Anna, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Many times. And people would call her and ask to come and see the skull, and then she'd call me, and I'd go up there, and the skull would give whatever messages that the skull thought they needed to hear. There were TV shows done many times.
Wow.
I even slept with it in my bedroom.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh,
we got to be friends in there.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty amazing. Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing. So
Anna was very, very, very generous in all ways, and a lovely person. And she would let people touch it, and people come visit. I mean, the poor lady, she was well up in years, and people would just turn up at her door. And she always said, well, it's this, the skull's work to do, and was the most gracious lady.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Bill, you're still with us, right? I still have you here?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, it's really hard to hear you. I don't know if, let's see here if I can bring you up a little bit. Okay.
And I hear what he's saying, so
yeah.
It's...
There you go.
Yeah, if you saw where I was at right now, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
No kidding, huh? Oh, wow. Now, were you with Anne this whole time when this was all was going on?
No, I wasn't. No, I was with her the last part of her life, and she, on several. Let's see, she was an unbelievable person, and anybody that knew her, once you meet her, it's one of these people you never forget.
Right.
And at her late age, and this was in their 90s, she packed up all her stuff in Canada and moved to England, bought a house, and then packed up all her stuff, moved back to Canada, then packed up all of her stuff and moved to America, then packed all her stuff and moved back to Canada and bought a house, sold the house, moved to England, bought a house, and this is a 4-bedroom house.
Oh my goodness.
House, and then moved back to Canada, bought a house, and then she was all by herself and sick, and since she had lived with me like 3 years back in the early 90s, and we were really good friends, when she was sick, I said, come back this time, and I'll take care of you, and she did, and that's where she taught me what she expected of the skull, how to take care of it, and what she wanted to do. The skull cannot be sold. There's people that have offered a tremendous amount of money for it, but
I can imagine.
Can only be gifted to someone that is felt could take care of it the way that she wants it taken care of, and that's what I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm trying to follow her wishes, and so that she got better after that. That was in the early 90s, and we had some really good adventures. I went with Carole and Sammy, Anna, down to Honduras, visiting some of the places that she visited when she was young, and went back to Roatan, where her dad found treasure on the island, and visited that area, and went to Port Royal, and it was just an unbelievable adventure, and she was doing that in her 90s.
Oh my goodness.
It was never dull around Anna, that's for sure.
That is awesome. That is awesome. What year did she actually die, Bill?
You know what? She found the skull on January 1st, 1924. That was when she found it. It was her 17th birthday.
Okay.
And she passes away to me on April 11th, 2007, which was my birthday.
Oh.
Which is kind of strange how that happened, but that's what happens. That was pretty kind of different.
Wow. Almost like it was meant to be.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you the skull, and you know, I talked to Carole too. Once you're around it, it's something you never forget.
Mm-hmm.
The most amazing thing, but it has so much universal love, and that's what the world needs right now. It needs to get this energy out there, and Carole and I are going to start working together because her last book, most of the stuff in the book has come true, all the predictions, and it's time for a new one, especially at this time when there's so much happening in the world. We need to have some direction there, I think, and hopefully the skull and Carole and us working together will be able to put that out, and that's something we're going to do this end of this year, first of next year.
Wow, that's fantastic. So where is the Mitchell-Hedges skull now? Is it in your possession, or do you have it like in a safe location someplace? I mean, or you know, are you living with it?
Yeah, well, it's always, yeah, it takes care of the situations very well, and it's in a safe place. I was told in let's see, what year it was? It was like 2010. I was given the warning by John of God to take it out of the public eye for a while. And then last year I talked to him and he said it was okay to bring it out again. And I feel now is the time to bring it out and let people be able to see it. So that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm going to start doing pretty much all over the country as much as I can. Oh,
that's fantastic. I am so glad that you're doing that, no doubt about it. You know, because Carole and I talked earlier today a little bit about it too, and there has been so much over the years of debunking these skulls, and you know, especially this one, you know, because of the stories, you know, that Anna and her father, you know, her stepfather, I guess you would call him, had at the time, and there was a lot of confusion going on. Some of it was outright, as far as I was concerned, outright trash that they put onto it just to keep people away from it and stuff, which is a sad deal. And I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's in some respects, the people that have the knowledge know the truth, and the ones that don't, it really it's probably for the safety a lot that it is out there. But the thing about the crystal skull is when I was down with Anna in Belize in Lubantun, talking to some of the old people that had been on the dig, that before they passed away in the 90s, 1996 we were down there, and she was able to meet with them. And listening to what they say, you know, it sounds like the skull and all that was there, and it was a fact. But who's to say for sure that the real thing is it is an impossibility, just like Hewlett-Packard said. It was made against the grain. It has lenses and prisms built inside the crystal. It would take zero gravity. It was there's no tool marks except one small tool mark by the jaw that Hewlett-Packard says this thing shouldn't be here. You know, I took it to Jane Welsh, which is the person that had the most against the skull in the fact that she wanted to debunk it before the fact is that it didn't fit any kind of past historical effect. You know, it's so much out of it.
Right.
It doesn't look like it should be here. You know, it's impossible. It's almost like came from out of the world, out of this world or something. So whatever it is here. It is real, and the people that see it and feel it know what it is, and that's the amazing part. So you don't have to not really worry about what people say. Hey, I say just visit with it, and Carole will definitely tell you the same thing. But it's a skull of has great universal love, so that's what I like to take it around, and especially now where the world has a point where it needs to open up their heart to this positive energy.
Absolutely.
And I try to do that with the skull and try to bring it around and as much as I can, and I'm going to do, like I say, more now.
Fantastic.
Very interesting, to say the least.
Now, do you, and I'm not really sure how I should ask this or anything, but does the Smithsonian and people still bother you about this, about the Mitchell-Hedges skull, or?
No, since I've been out of the hard to get a hold of, nobody's really been bothering me at all, no.
Okay.
You hear different stories and stuff from time to time, but what I'm just doing is, believe it or not, I connect to the skull really neat, and it kind of guides me on where to go and where to take it.
Fantastic.
It's starting to move now, so I think you'll probably be hearing more about it in the next year or the year to come.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
And hopefully we can do a lot of good things, because we're at a point the world needs some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Absolutely. One more question for you, Bill. Have you been in contact with the other skull owners? Do they contact you or try to get a hold of you to bring them together or anything, or are they not doing that anymore?
Sure. I do get contacts, and I am in good contact with most of them, and I just kind of go with that when the time is right. So I'll be doing some lectures and meditations with the skull on the West Coast shortly, and as I do that, some of the skull owners that I know, some of the old skulls, I'll be able to get together with them. So yes. Oh,
that's awesome. That is so awesome. Wow. Well, I hope you hang in.
Sometime. You got to come see it.
Yes, no doubt about it. I definitely will. I definitely will. No doubt about it. That is just so cool. If you would just please stay with us here. Carole, you have anything to add to that?
Sure.
I don't know what he said. I couldn't hear a word.
Oh, I'm sorry. You couldn't hear him, could you? Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Was he talking about me and being nice, I hope?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. All good things. All good things. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, folks, because we have one on Skype and one that's actually on the radio program itself, so they cannot hear each other, which is ironic. I didn't even think about that happening either. All right. Okay. Well, Carole, let's talk about the books a little bit. The one book is called The Skull Speaks, and the other one was The Veil of Time, or Beyond the Veil of... Right, yes. Beyond the Veil of Time. Now, yes. You didn't actually write these books, is that right?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was the voice of the information that came from the skull.
From the skull. And so they pretty much just dictated everything that you said and put it into these books, then. That's what...
Yes.
Okay.
Well, apparently a lot was left out because at the time... it was so far into the future that the person that took it down, who wasn't a scientist, couldn't believe that it was true. So and thought it was too far-fetched.
Isn't that something?
So a lot was left out, but really it sounds phenomenal. But when you think about it, it really is. It's a computer. Mm-hmm. So if you had a far advanced computer which you only had to put your hands on and you didn't have to do search and Google and stuff, that's my opinion of what the Mitchell-Hedges skull is. And I believe at some point it did say that that's what it was there for, and for future people to pass on the knowledge of previous, shall we say, visitors.
Right, absolutely, sure, absolutely.
And I'm sure that we're going to get questions about it being fake.
Oh, and I'm sure, yeah, yep.
What I would like to say on that is 2 points. The archaeologist that examined the skull, and when this all came out it was fake, made 2 comments which I thought were quite hilarious and with given time has been shown that that she might be a very good archaeologist, but she didn't have the answers. One was the Mayans couldn't have made it, or previous peoples, because they didn't have a wheel. And
I'm sorry.
I stood and I thought, well, is nobody going to say what shape's the Mayan calendar?
Absolutely. It's round.
If that YouTube is still around, you'll hear her say that. And the other thing she says is, and also, no quartz has ever been found in that area.
You got to be kidding me.
No.
How could she say that? She's an archaeologist?
Yes. And so in years that followed, of course, boom, there's this bloody great cave full of it.
Yes.
Right there. Right there. I think it's almost near Mexico City.
Absolutely.
So knowing the skull as I do, I thought, it's just bitten you in the bum, lady.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Terrible.
And on those facts that they thought are facts, they said this skull is fake. And because they thought it had some wheel marks on one of the teeth, I believe, which they could only find with a super microscope, a big thing that you had to find the minutest detail. Well, give me a break. Somebody through the years of the Mitchell-Hedges might have taken a nail file to it or something to smooth it out. But, those are this whole idea of the thing is fake. A fake what? It's a crystal skull. How can it be a fake crystal skull?
So let me get this straight. They took the skull and they're examining it, and they're looking at with a well advanced microscope, going through this thing, and they found one minute etching on a tooth, and that's how they debunked this thing, is because of that.
And the fact that the Mayans didn't have wheels.
And they didn't have. I can't believe they even said that. I don't get that, but yeah.
Well, and it was so funny because nobody around said, "Wait a minute." And I'm thinking, and I'm certainly no brainiac, and I'm standing thinking, what?
Right. Bill.
And so.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Did you have something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, could I add something if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, go right ahead. Yes.
Okay, yeah. What is interesting, because I was there on all of it too, is they had me there the first time, and they put these things all over looking for tool marks, and I left, and they're going to find these tool marks all over. As a matter of fact, I walked in the place and had the skull sitting on the table, and they were looking at it saying, look at all the tool marks. I thought, wow, this is, I never saw a tool mark on it. If you ever saw it, it's perfect.
Wow.
And then then they brought me back another time, and I asked them why they were doing it again, and they said, well, they didn't find any the first time. They need to look some more. And they didn't find any the second time, but the third time, if you looked at Hewlett-Packard, Hewlett-Packard said they found one small tool mark down by the jaw. And so when I was there last time, they put the things to test it down by the jaw, but when they took it off, they ripped it in two. And they said, we'll fix that. So I don't even know if they really did fix it or not. They were just wanting to debunk it so bad. But, when you see the level of their competence at what they were doing, at first, I had such respect for Smithsonian and all the people there.
Right.
But then when you get around it and see what they're doing, that was really a joke. And but it was at the right time and the right place, and it did me a great service. So I don't complain about it. I'm happy about it.
There you go. Wow, that's crazy, unbelievable. That's sad though that people will go to that extreme. To do certain things like that. It's just, it's amazing.
Look what they say about say about the pyramids and how they try to debunk the age of the pyramids.
Absolutely.
When they find some of these bones and stuff that are, thousands of years old, thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of years old, and it doesn't fit into their textbooks, and they don't want to believe anything. They push it away. They get rid of it. And that's what's with the skull. Because from what I understand, the skull is probably, and with going into Carole's and her readings, if you look at some of her readings, it's probably pre-Atlantis, and so it's very, very old. And that's the technology they had then was a lot different than the technology we have today.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. Well, what I want to do, Bill and Carole, is I got a couple of callers here, and I got some people on the message in the chat room. They're all chomping at the bit here. They want to ask some questions. If that's okay with you, I'd like to get them booted up a little bit here and see what we come up with.
Okay.
Alrighty.
That sounds good.
Very good. Okay. Our first one here is Tim Collard. Tim, I'm going to bring you up, buddy. Let's see here if we can get him up here. Hello, Tim. You with us, sir?
I am here. Greetings and salutations. And hello, everybody.
Fantastic.
This is. I am just totally beside myself and what's going on here. But it's my pleasure to be on here and to chat with y'all. But the crystal skull has been one of the studies that I've been just fascinated by almost my whole life. And growing up, studying about the Mayans and the Aztecs and all that, and then seeing how, reading about how the skull, the Mitchell-Hedges skull was discovered. It's just fascinated me. But more than that, there's something that I believe is going on. We're going through a genesis, so to speak, in mankind and our human race. We need a change, and I'm so glad and so happy inside that Bill, that you're bringing the skull back out into the public and to public view, to help to generate the mindset of people in the right direction. And thank you very much for that, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and it's what my heart says to do, and I'm definitely wanting to do it. So I'm very glad to do it and bring it out so other people can experience it and share the love. And we're at a point now, the world is, I believe we've destroyed the world a number of times before, at least 3. And we're at that point with all the same people in position to do it again or go to this higher level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a time for people to get together and not worry that the greed and all that's what's keeping us down. We got to go into our heart and open up to universal love that, hey, we're all connected, we're all one. And with that, we'll reach this higher level. We'll get through this change, and it's really neat. So I'm sending all the love I can, and that's what I'm here for right now. Sure.
Right.
That's fantastic.
But the thing that my biggest fear, my biggest concern is always, and it has been, how the powers that be will do anything to go against that, to change the status quo, because it's going to upset the apple cart. As we go on this mission of this changing mindset of our human existence, and to go out of that greed, get out of that greed state. There's a lot of people in power that don't want that to happen. They want to keep things going, in a certain direction. I'm speaking of, the large banks and large mega corporations and stuff like that. People who who at the heart of it are ruining and destroying the world. And I believe that there's going to be a change, whether it comes about from us here on Earth, or this extra celestial event that takes place that comes here that changes it. But something has to happen.
No
it
doubt.
cannot keep going the way it is, or we will go through another destructive state.
Sure.
We have plenty of evidence showing that along about 13,000 years ago, there was a cataclysmic event that took place that a lot of people call the Great Flood or whatever, that wiped out the human race almost, almost wiped us out, not quite. There was a few stragglers that survived, and we are the descendants of that A-type civilization that did exist here.
Right.
That this is my belief, and the Mitchell-Hedges skull and the other skulls around the world, the other crystal skulls, are complete evidence of this civilization that was here, and could be possibly many more beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
The Hopi Indians speak of that the world has been destroyed, I believe, 4 times, and their myths and their legends as they go back,
Right.
and that we're on the brink of the 5th time right now. And we can go either way. And it's really, I just hope that we can bring people together, to bring people's hearts and minds together as one before that happens. But all we can do is all we can do.
Right.
We can do the best we can at it, and put forth our best effort. That's it.
Fantastic.
Well, just what I'm doing is I'm just working with universal love and sending out a lot of that, and it's like a seed, and hopefully it'll grow, and people will work in a positive vein and make the changes inside and out, which
Bless you, brother.
we're going.
Bless you, man, and for what you're doing. I mean, 100%, man.
That's awesome.
I'm all for it, 100%. And that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's actually unbelievable that that I'm here and talking with you all, and we're in this conversation here and sharing this space and time here. This is
Pretty cool, isn't it?
It's incredible. And thanks, Clarence, for doing this, and thank you all for being here. Carole also, if you can hear me.
Carole, can you hear them talking?
No.
No?
No, I can't.
Oh. I wonder why that is. My goodness, I wonder what's going on here, why she can't hear you. I don't know if it's because of the microphone or the speaker.
So I'm into your Close Encounters, and it says live.
Yes.
And I can see you, but now what do I do?
That's it. Yeah, I'm waving at you. Hello. Yeah, you should be able to hear it on there also. Yes. As long as it doesn't feed back into your other one, you should be fine. Yeah.
I can't hear anything, but what are they saying?
Okay. Bill, you want to say something to her real quick to see if she can hear you?
Yeah. Right now I'm just listening, so I'm fine.
Okay, there you go.
Can't hear.
Wow.
I was trying to mute it a little bit. Maybe I thought you could hear better.
Yeah, there you
wasn't sure.
I'm trying to beat on it. That's funny.
I mute the put the mute on, phone on mute.
Right. That's strange. Yeah, it's so strange. I wonder what's going on there. I have another guest here also I want to bring up real quick. This is Sharon. Sharon's been hanging on here for quite a while. Hello, Sharon. You with us, dear?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm listening intently.
Okay, cool.
I have some questions for Bill. You said that Carole's putting out a new book soon, and there's a book out called The Skull Speaks. What's the name of the new book going to be? And
you know what? We don't have it. You know, we haven't. That's something we're going to work on. That's our
Okay.
goal. I want to call it The Skull Speaks, and then with a 2 and a U after it.
Oh, that'd be
That's
cool.
what I want,
To you, yeah.
The Skull Speaks to You. That's what I want to do. So, but
that's clever. Well, and what's Carol's last name? What's the author's name?
Davis. Wilson or
Wilson.
Davis, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's
Okay,
your
I can hear you now. And
Oh, you do hear it? Okay, good.
I didn't
And my
hear
last
it in
name
the
is Homann.
beginning. Homann?
Yeah.
Homann. Okay, great. Now, you said that the skull communicates to some people, or does it communicate to everybody?
You know what? It has to do with, I mean, I've seen lots of different people, and some people are really drawn to it more than other people. And so I don't try to judge it, and I don't try to say, oh, it's going to do this or that. It does whatever it's happening to do. So I just let it do its thing. But as far as speaking to people, you know, some people are more, they can hear, and some people can feel, and some people can see. So everyone probably, you know, it's just an individual thing, and it has to do a lot with connections probably from the past, where they're being brought into this.
Oh, this is cool. This is so cool.
Now, there's a lot of people, like if I'm doing a seminar, that people all of a sudden have a dream about a skull, they never did it in their life, and all of a sudden they do that, and then all of a sudden the next day they see a flyer, and they come there and they don't know why they're there. But,
wow.
So it's a pretty amazing, some of the things that come up and some of the things that happen. I just send out lots of love and just let it do its thing. So
there
that's
you go.
what kind of what it's about.
Cool. Carole.
It seems to be that the skull zeroes in on, and I'm not going to say ESP, but those of us
It
that
kind of goes
have
into your
more
into
sensitive,
your higher state of consciousness. It goes into that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
And you say it's always universal love, and it's always a positive energy.
Well, that's what it has to do with probably the people around it and the caretaker, and I try myself to always stay in the positive energy. It is more or less like a machine that was created by people that have a knowledge that we don't have, and the machine will do different things. But as far as I see and I work with it in a positive light and for positive things.
Cool.
And do you take the skull to like special conventions or? I
haven't taken it for several years. Yeah, I haven't taken it, but I'm now starting to do that. And just recently, I was at the Grand Tetons for the eclipse, and I was there working with a number of Indians that work with healing music, and we did because the skull really likes the flute and different music. It really seems to be in balance with it. So when I take that around that, and we did it at the eclipse, it was really neat and very powerful. So I like to do special places. I like to go to energy places in different parts of the country and really the world, but I'm not traveling the world like I used to, no.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, there was a question brought up. Jeffrey Boyd Jr., who is part of the Stream and a couple other well-known groups, Independent Research Society and different other things, and he's also been on many other talk shows. He's also I can't even pronounce it, metallurgist, and he also does a lot of work with crystals and stuff. And he was wondering, is there some type of a record keeper within the skull? You know, is there?
I didn't hear that. Say it again, please.
Is there some type of a record keeper inside the skull, or something of that nature?
From what I understand and feel, some people, crystal stores knowledge, and from different. I work with the different spiritual masters all over the country and the world, and I've been told that the knowledge of the universe is stored inside that crystal. If we knew how to get it out, it's
wow.
there. So that's
no kidding.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So,
I believe that.
Carole, I got to ask you this. With that being said, why? I'm just kind of wondering why the skull hasn't explained to you or told you how to do this. I mean, or has it?
How to do what?
Bring out the information, or different things, or how to download it, I guess is the word.
Well, it has, and it does. You just have to, for me, I can only speak for me, just put your hands on it, and it starts to emit like tones, and then whatever information somebody is looking for, usually they don't even have to speak. That's another phenomena that happens. That people come and they say they've got all these questions, and it even happened on a TV show that you can still view. And what happens once the skull starts to do whatever the skull does, people become dumb. They don't speak.
Okay.
And the TV show that we did, I always insist that I don't know anything about what they're going to ask or what they want to do or anything. So they had everything set up, and we went into the room, and the skull started, and they had sheets of questions. And from what I understand, and there were many witnesses, that the skull went straight down this list of questions in exactly the way they had been written and answered them.
Oh, my goodness.
And there were lots of questions, and then it said, and now I'll tell you what you really came here for.
Okay.
This is good, but this is better, kind of thing.
Wow.
And it really isn't complicated. You just put your hands on it. I can work with the skull far better than I can use this Hewlett-Packard computer. It really is very simple, and you usually don't have to ask. It will know exactly why you're there and what you need and what you want to ask. And so, I don't think in all the years I worked with it, anybody ever went away still asking questions. Some of them went away mumbling in their beards, but...
So when you're there with your hands on this skull, and, I mean, are you, like, in a trance? I mean, do you know what it's saying, or do you have to have somebody there recording it or documenting it as it goes on?
Yeah.
Or because you don't remember anything, right? Or you don't know?
I have no idea what's being said, and it also has a vocabulary which is vastly different from mine. It doesn't even sound like it talks differently.
Oh my goodness!
When I hear it, it's very different. And no, I don't have any recall. It's like going to sleep, being in a very deep sleep, and then when it's over, you sort of suddenly wake up and think, where am I? What's going on? As if you've suddenly been woken out of a deep sleep. And also I'm very cold. And when they were doing experiments with me and had me all wired up and everything, on a 3-hour session I lost 6 pounds in weight, which was exciting for me. But of course it was only water weight and came back. But,
my goodness.
That was a benefit.
So what did they, when they wired you up and stuff, what were they looking for? What did they expect to find? Or, did they find what they were looking for, I guess?
It was part of the experiments of my blood pressure, and they had a couple of medical doctors and some scientists, brainwave patterns, they wanted to look at those, and actually wanted to see what was happening I guess, to my body, but they got so involved in the information coming that that kind of went by the wayside, and they forgot to check what they were checking for at the time.
Oh, wow. Somebody else is asking in the chat room, they want to know, has she ever recorded this and have anything translated? You must have numerous tapes and videos and stuff of this yourself, don't you? Or did you ever keep any of that stuff?
I have nothing.
You have nothing?
Not one thing. And there were tapes at Anna's. I don't know if Bill ever came across them. The person that took down much of the information had many, many tapes, and he got robbed of them.
Oh, no.
He since passed away. So, and another person that was involved in doing a lot of taping and a lot of experimenting was a doctor who has since passed away too. I can't remember his name, but out there somewhere in the world, there are many, many tapes, yes.
Wow, unbelievable.
I don't even have a copy of the book, so.
Has it told you what its name is?
It wasn't about me. It was about the information.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have one more caller here. I think this may be Lee. Let's see if we can bring her up. Lee, is this you, dear?
Hello?
Yes, is this Lee?
Yes, it is.
Ah, fantastic. Okay. What's going on, Lee?
I've been listening, and it's so awesome. I can't believe I'm so excited that these people are on your show.
Pretty cool, huh?
I do have a question, though. I don't know if they answered this already, but my question was to the owners. Why do you think science tries to debunk what this is about? Why would science do that? I don't understand that.
Well, it doesn't fit with the textbook of what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they debunk the pyramids or any other thing like that?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't fit.
True.
And it was a big thorn in their side.
Mm-hmm.
So they would spend lots of money to try to do that.
You would think, though, that scientists are open-minded to, new discoveries, but I guess not.
That would be good. Yep.
Absolutely. Carole, are you still working as a medium, or do you not do that anymore, or?
Well, it's not something I do. It's something. I'm just a me.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, yeah, you're not like for hire or because I know. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I do go to anybody that needs help. Of course, I'm available, but it's people have sort of this idea it's something that you do rather than something that you live. I
gotcha.
When I give lectures, I explain it this way. I'm also colorblind, which is kind of rare for a female, but and I was in ophthalmology for many years, but I don't know I'm colorblind. You all tell me I'm colorblind.
Really?
Yes, because I will say, okay, this green car, for instance, and they'll say, no, it's not green, it's whatever color. So it's like that. Other people give you titles, but I'm just a me, and it's just the way I see life or I live life. And
wow, that's fantastic.
So I don't know any other way.
Gotcha.
And so that's how I explain it. It's I'm just a me, and whatever it is that's done. Again, it's not about me, the person. It's about the information that was given out to help mankind. And when I really got into it, I thought I was very naive. I thought everybody would want to know all this wonderful information,
Right.
inventions and cures
Right.
for sicknesses and things. And I thought everyone will want to know. This, this can help everybody.
Right.
How wrong I was.
Oh, yes. Oh, I
When
think that's something.
get a visit from somebody that says, don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I said, well, again, I was naive, and other people said, you better stop. Now's the time to stop because it's getting.
Well, you think
dangerous.
you think it scares people? I mean, is that what it is? That they're just afraid of the truth or the knowledge, or I mean,
Well, I think it boils down to if you knew how powerful you were, you would not be controllable.
good answer. I like that.
It comes back to that, and so much of past knowledge is altered and debunked by people that really, when you question them, don't make any sense. And if you do it hard enough and long enough, you're liable to end up dead.
Oh.
And that has happened so many times through history that if you do it with the tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, like here's this hokey woman with this hokey skull or something, then you can get your message out. And this is sort of what we hoped to do at the time and later on in years, but we were getting to the point of scientists and people coming and being given instructions on and being given direct orders, do not do thus, thus, and thus. You will not be allowed, you will be stopped. And by golly, they were stopped in the most astounding ways.
That's amazing. See, people, this is what I'm talking about for those who are listening and tuning in. This is just exactly what we were discussing here not long ago about how science and different other people will downgrade everything and push it down and keep it down because they don't want the real truth out there. They want to keep it at a level where they can control it themselves. And this is what's going on. And it's just amazing to me how that works. And it's a damn shame. It really is a damn shame being suppressed like that. It's just not right. But the truth will prevail, Carole. I mean, you can't stop that. They can't stop it. That's the way I look at it.
It leaks out in funny ways. And it's been many years since I've been with the skull, and Bill and I were just saying we have to get together. And it's funny because you can, I can get messages from the skull, and I'm not even thinking about it.
Right.
And again, people will say, well, how do you do that? Well, isn't there quartz in everything? Somebody with more knowledge than I have knows about computers and radios and TVs, and isn't there quartz in everything? And to program a piece of quartz, I don't think is difficult. And what these ancient people did is they made a computer and they left it until someone came along and said, well, let's put our hands on and play with this and see what happens. And lo and behold, lots of things happened.
Wow.
And many people are drawn to the crystal skull. And some of them don't want to be. I wasn't. I didn't want to start with.
You didn't want nothing to do with it. Yeah.
No. But then my ego got in the way, and I thought, oh, this is it. It's been waiting for me.
Wrong. Wrong. That's funny.
What about you?
Oh, that's fantastic. Bill, you said you had something to say, Bill? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave now, but I really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm glad to talk anytime. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, I really appreciate you coming on here with us and sharing with us, and anytime you're available, please give us a holler and and please keep us posted on what you're doing with it, and we'll spread the word. Absolutely.
Okay, you have to see it sometime. It's something you'll never forget.
We definitely will. We definitely will. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
Isn't that something? That's fantastic. We have, I believe this is Lee's brother, Mike, is with us here. Let's get him booted up. Mike, is this you, sir?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, absolutely. I'm trying to get it figured out here so Carole can hear everybody. Carole, can you hear everybody now or not? Or let me see if I can.
Yes, I can hear him now.
You can hear him now? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bill had to leave us. He had something going on there.
Okay.
So he did leave us. But anyway, Mike is with us now. Mike, how you doing, guy? What's going on? Fantastic.
I'm doing well. I'm just, I assumed the Chief Ranger's position back in February.
Oh.
So I'm about 7 months in doing this job, and so I've been staying pretty busy
Cool.
with that. But I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Tim, we got you booted back up, buddy, so you're back on. So feel free to join in.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that, man.
Not a problem. Yeah, I see you dropped and we brought you back up. That's cool. Carole, there was a question for you in the messenger. Actually, I got a couple of them here. One of them is from Christina. She wanted to know when they put all these crystal skulls together, what is supposed to happen?
Do you want my answer?
Yes.
I have absolutely no idea.
You have no idea.
It's something that it took off on its own, and so the idea of these 13 crystal skulls, although I think there are 13 somewhere, do I think they've been found? No. And do I think there are still some to be found? I believe so. Out of that grew an idea that, there was 13 and a master skull, and did the skull ever talk of that? No. I think it was asked how many they were and where were others, and it did answer that question. Did it ever say, well, when you put these 13 together, the world will take off or anything like that? No. That all came about many years later, and some very interesting ideas came out of.
Okay, so that's just kind of a myth, a hoax kind of thing that somebody put together and threw out there, and it's kind of like Nibiru and Planet X, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Do I have any proof of anything like that happening? Did the skull ever say anything like that? Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. So there's one thing that we can debunk right there. That's not a real deal. So cool. Good.
It's
good.
just my opinion.
Well, hey, it works. I like that. The other question we have here, and this is coming out of the chat room on the Blogtalk side, it says, does the crystal have any healing qualities?
Absolutely.
It does. Can you give us a breakdown of what it does or how it works?
I'll give you a very quick story.
Sure.
Kind of a funny story. Sammy called me one weekend on a Saturday and said, can you come up with the skull? My friend has an abscessed tooth and she needs the skull to do some healing. And I said, Sammy, she needs a dentist. I don't think we can handle that. Oh yes, dear. She said, yes, you can. Now, Anna had sublime, not faith, but knowledge of the things the skull can do. Anyway, I went up and I met with the lady who was probably in her 50s then, whose face was like a balloon. It was so swollen out, and I took one look and I said, I don't think we can help you, really. And she said, well, I'm so terrified to go to the dentist. I'm in such pain. And Sammy said you could help. And I said, well, bless her heart, I don't think so. Anyway, we sat with the skull, and whatever the skull did, there was, talking and advice, I guess, and things like that. And when I sort of came back to myself, I sort of opened my eyes and looked across to where the lady was sitting, and her face was still like a balloon. And I thought, oh dear, this is, I felt so bad.
Sure.
And the woman said, that was wonderful. And I'm kind of stunned looking at her, and she said, oh, thank you so much. I feel so much better. I'm not in the least bit scared now. I will go to the dentist, and the pain is gone. And I'm thinking, I don't think so. Got this big balloon face, and I'm thinking, well, I said, oh, well, that's great, and I'm glad we can help, and I really wanted to rush home because I thought, as soon as she leaves here, the pain's going to come back.
Absolutely, sure.
Well, on Sunday at about 3 o'clock, I get a phone call, and it's Sammy, and she said, oh, I should have phoned you earlier. I just wanted to thank you for my friend with the abscessed tooth, and I said, is she going to the dentist now? Oh, no. I said, Sammy, she has to go to the dentist. My medical background kicked in, and she needs help. No, she doesn't, said Sammy. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, when she woke up this morning, the tooth was in her mouth, loose. It had come out.
Oh, my goodness.
And
oh, my goodness. So it just popped right out.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, good heavens.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. There were pretty amazing things that happened in the lines of healing with the skull, and also information on healing and what to do. And but yeah, the tooth. Well, you can imagine sort of having your eyes closed and opening them a little bit to look across the room and still seeing this big face on this poor woman.
You must have really felt bad for her. Sure.
Fail.
Yeah, and it actually worked. Yeah, isn't that something?
Yes.
Wow, that is great. Unbelievable.
Now, I should tell you that Anna Mitchell-Hedges was not in good health. I mean, her health was terrible.
Really?
And she lived to be 100. And that skull kept her alive, I tell you. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Wow, that's amazing. That is totally amazing.
Yes, it is. It is an amazing, I'll call it an artifact. There are things that happen that even when I think about them now, and I think, am I imagining that, or did that really happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then various people remind me, do you remember when?
Exactly. Carole, there's
and that's why I think a lot of people believe that. I mean, I'm sure those have extraordinary power, but just crystals in themselves, people feel they have powers, and that's why we keep them,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah. Do you think it makes a difference, Carole, in the type of crystal by chance, or is it just, how it's made or where it comes from?
I don't have enough knowledge. All I know is it's quartz crystal, and it came from the area in which it was found, and now we can say, yes, there's a lot of quartz there. Mm-hmm. I don't have that kind of knowledge. It's something to have asked the skull, and people did and got answers, but do I think? I don't know. I have no idea.
What did they ask the skull how it was made? And what was the answer that it come up with? Or
it at the time. Now, I'm going way back. At the time, it came up with explaining what we didn't understand at the time as the use of light. It really was talking about lasers, but go back to the 70s, and certainly it tried to explain to us lasers.
You wouldn't know.
And it also said it was handed down through many generations. in many generations helped program it as well, because whosever hand it had been in, and it was polished with hair and sand over many generations.
Wow.
And it was carved with the use of, well, it didn't use the word laser, I don't remember, but it said light and sound.
Lights and sound. So vibration, lights, yes, that kind of thing, and polish with hair and sand. That's amazing. That is totally amazing.
We'll take, and in each of the eyes, it has so many prisms that they cannot now, I think they are just now trying to do them with lasers. But even if we say that it was carved in the in the 1800s, how would they have been able to carve prisms in an eye socket? I think there's 8 in each eye socket.
Oh my goodness, 8 prisms in each. So that'd be that'd be 16 prisms that you're talking about. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Any ideas out there? Anybody? Any ideas, Tim? You got any ideas? What? I am stumped here.
I think that there's. I think that with that many different prisms being inside there,
mm-hmm,
that it multiplies upon multiplies the amount of storage that could be there.
Right.
Because you take a 1 inch by 1 inch cube, and you can cut it you can cut into it in 3 different directions. You know, you have 6 sides, and then you got 2 sides per cut. You know, what direction you cut. You got up and down, right and left, and forward and backwards. Those are your 3 different directions you can go in a 1 inch cube. You go into a skull like that with that many different prisms, it boggles the mind on how much storage capacity is there.
Mm-hmm.
It would not surprise me for us to find out that the cosmic records are stored inside of the Mitchell-Hedges skull.
Right.
It would not surprise me, not one bit. There's that much. It allows the room for that much storage to be there for us to. But we have to come up with a way of unlocking that. You know.
Well, that's
where I would love to be in contact with it. I would love to contact it, because I've always stressed the fact, and I'm not crazy or anything, but that I was reincarnated from the Lanchian Empire, and David Wilcox says the same thing, and that we share. I share a lot with David Wilcox and Edgar Casey. And once I started learning about Edgar Casey, it opened up a whole world of information for me.
Uh-huh.
And this isn't just pokey religion or anything. This isn't something that's just like a hobby or something. It's become a passion of mine.
Sure.
And this is real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these things are 100% real. But I would love to come in contact with it, just to touch the skull and see what I could feel out of it.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
What kind of, what I could channel through it,
No kidding.
It's just the possibility of that happening is probably never happened, but it's something that I would love to do. It's on my bucket list.
Absolutely. And Bill said they're going to be touring with it. What's that, Lee?
I have a question for Tim.
What's that?
Studying Edward Casey. Do you think that he was given a gift and he was special, or do you think you could try what he did and reveal stuff? I think it was under his book, right?
I think that everyone has the ability to unlock or to channel whatever information is there. Everyone has the ability. It's whether or not you vibrate at that same frequency. Nikola Tesla said that when you think about the universe, you think in the terms said that those three things were the key to unlocking the universe or channeling into the universe. So once you vibrate, and every one of us vibrate at a certain frequency. Some of us vibrate at the same frequency, and that's where we come together and chat places like this right here, and all that.
Because the pyramids, I've read that they did their healing. They would have somebody lay on this huge slab of rock, and they would lay their head in this crevice, and it was sound that did the healing.
Right, the vibrations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, vibration, or like you said, our vibration or whatever.
Right. Jeffrey Boyd was commenting about the prisms himself there. Of course, he works with crystals and stuff like that himself, and he says the prisms are most definitely what are called record keepers. These are the most desired type of crystal. They form to the star tetrahedron shape of the field shape everything forms to. Tetrahedron. I'm sorry, I can't read this. Tetrahedron. Yeah.
Tetrahedron.
Yeah. Shape of the field, everything. And he says he'd love to examine one, just to see it. Cool.
Well, I tell you, if somebody wants to put on a conference in New York State, Bill and I'll be there.
There you go.
Conference, and we'll come.
I bet you Jeffrey could hook that up somehow, because he is into everything. Yeah, fantastic.
Just keep in touch. Something came up I heard about Atlantis. Now, this is something that I remember from the skull. And people would ask, where is Atlantis? Where is Atlantis? And the answer is, you're looking for a piece of geography when Atlantis was a state of mind.
Oh my goodness. No kidding.
And everybody kept asking, where is Atlantis? And it would always answer with the same question. Then it went on at one point in one of the readings or channelings or whatever you call it, to say that your next discovery when you're looking for geography would be off the coast of Bimini. Well, I understand that a sandbar has come up recently out there, and I'm wondering, will they discover something there? But it went into great detail about Atlantis being a state of mind and not a piece of geography. And I think my translation of that on hearing it was that Atlantis were a race of people. And they were in many places and took knowledge to many places. So all the time you're looking for this tiny piece of geography, you're missing the big picture here. And it always ain't the big picture. It was phenomenal when I would allow people to tell me what was said, because it can be very unnerving, especially with my personality. I have a tendency to argue.
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, it would always answer with the big. You didn't get just yes and no answered. It would always give you detailed, explicit detail and the big picture, and that I found that pretty phenomenal. But again, back in the 70s, I didn't know what a computer was, and now, of course, when you Google, it's not so surprising.
Absolutely.
But back then, and hearing the way that it would work was surprising. I'd like to just touch on the healing part.
Yes.
I also read that it often gave remedies for healing, and the biggest one was sound and light will cure all that mankind brings about in dis-ease. And basically went on to say that you're killing yourselves, that it's with certain things that you're doing. And some maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I got a tiny blurb on my Hewlett-Packard computer that said they had now found that cancer tumors radiate a sound.
Oh my goodness.
And they were trying to think of how to cure them with sound. Well, the answer is play the sound back to it and it'll go poof. But I didn't get in touch with anybody.
Oh.
But that's, look up.
Oh. That's awesome. And when you just said that and it like hit me, it was like, you know what, that will work. Absolutely it would work. Why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's how simple.
Isn't it though? But would they allow them to use it? Would they, because it would be a cure. So would mainstream medicine allow it? Yeah, see, that's the thing. Would they keep it buried or would they actually use it? Would they, wow.
You haven't heard any more about it, have you?
No.
It was a tiny little blurb about some people in a science environment that had come out with it. And I often thought, did you come and see the crystal skull? Because it told you that many years ago.
There you go. Cool.
But you've never heard about it since.
Wow. Isn't that something? Wow. Amazing.
Yes.
Totally amazing.
Interesting.
Carole, while I got you on here, there's been another question. Of course, this one comes up all the time. It's obvious. They want to know, how did Anna actually acquire the skull? Can you give us the story behind that?
Okay. Well, the story that you read and that you've heard about on the internet and everywhere else is not true. You would have had to have been privy to the records, etc., that Anna had, which I was privy to. Anna was a very good friend. And the real story, though people say she made it up, is that Anna Mitchell-Hedges found the skull. Now, she did find it the way she described, that I'll give you a little bit of background. Anna was a young girl and should not have been on any of these digs. You have to go back into the late 1900s.
Right.
Kids didn't, especially girls, did not do these kind of things. And her father used to take her on digs. Mm-hmm. Wasn't old. Used to disguise her as a boy, all kinds of stuff. Good stuff. And unfortunately, on one of the digs in Lubantun, she contracted malaria, and she was very ill. And the natives, he was working on a dig there, and the natives said, if you take her back on the ship, remember there was only ship travel in these times,
right,
to get to England, she'll die. Leave her with us, and we'll look after her, and you can come back. So, what would now be called child abandonment, he took off.
Oh my goodness.
And she did get better, and she was waiting for his ship to come back, and it would be, you could see it 3 days out kind of thing.
Right.
And she was down at the beach, and she kept seeing this flash of light up in what was a mountain, not like the Alps, but mountains were there. Mm-hmm. And she thought, what is that? And it kept signaling to her, I guess. Now, when he landed and unloaded, she said, I would, like to take some of the men and go up there. There's something up there. And he said, absolutely not. No way. You're not going to waste my time and money. And so Anna, being the way she was, took a few of them and went up the mountain.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Lo and behold, she found this hole and looked down, and there was the bottom part of the skull. And she had them lower her down and bring it out. And of course, it doesn't look like it does now in pictures. It was covered in dirt and stuff, and
right.
Washed it off. And little was done about it then. It was an interesting find, but something said to her, where, there has to be another part. There's a part missing. So with her father's consent this time, she took only 2 and went back up and found the other part, and that was a week later. The big problem was that when they put the 2 halves together, the natives then said their god had returned, and nobody would do any work.
Oh my goodness.
And they started lighting fires and worshipping. And we're talking about an Englishman who had brought people from England to experience this dig, and they had financed him. So money was going down the tubes very fast because no one would work. And he was absolutely furious.
No kidding. Yeah.
And you've heard it called the Skull of Doom.
Yes, yes.
That's how it originally got its name, because no one would work, and his secretary, in quotes, would not come out of her tent, was absolutely petrified because she figured it was witchcraft and that these natives were going to end up boiling them in oil, and wanted to go home, and threw her hair in a fit. And, quote Daddy's words, "This bloody skull is nothing but doom and gloom." And the skull of doom.
So
you see, it's a very down-to-earth, ordinary example of how it got its name.
Wow.
The man was ticked right off and called it, it's done nothing but bring me doom and gloom.
The Skull of Doom.
Even his own book, he says, "I will never reveal how and where I found the skull." That's because he didn't.
Right.
And she said, "If you ever do, I'll tell my story, how it was found."
In other words, don't lie about it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But such a, from what they made it out to be, it's such a really ordinary story, and people don't take into account that this was England pre-war, just before going into the war, and what her father was doing, and the way the world was then. People have also said, well, why were there no photographs? Do you know how much a roll of film would have cost in those days?
You couldn't even find a camera in those days. I mean, that's absolutely, yeah.
Well, there's lots of stories, but and people trying to, quote, prove that this is a fake. Well, what is it? A fake what? A fake skull?
Yeah.
Looks like a skull to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What is fake about it, right? Unbelievable.
So if it was made in, I think they said in Germany in the 1800s, and it is such a phenomenal work of art, why didn't he make another one? And who was this? Well, did he make any more stuff?
Right.
No.
Well,
So this
that
lived and carved this beautiful skull? I don't think so.
Yeah, see, and that was one of my questions too back when we first talked about this, a while back, was how come, if it was made by somebody, why didn't somebody come forward and say, hey, I made that skull, or, I know where it come from, because I'm the one that did it, or whatever. After all these years, not one person has ever come out and said that, So, and as much publicity as that skull has gotten over the years, you can't tell me that nobody would know about it,
Exactly. Or would lay claim to it.
Exactly. Somebody would lay claim to it.
Great-great-granddad carved that, and I want it. And,
Absolutely. So, what do you do with that? Unbelievable. Fantastic. I'm kind of doing a funny here real quick, but I want to show everybody, I got me a crystal skull too. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. Got a little thing on his head. This one came out of the liquor store, by the way, so...
Yeah.
They don't have it.
Been sued for doing that.
I drank all the power.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the power, all the power was in it is gone now. That's the,
I don't know. He hasn't done so well since he did that. Yeah, and
No.
it's interesting that there's a connection between Canada and him making that booze in the crystal skull. But
it does something.
it's a phenomenal object. If anybody ever gets the chance to go see it, and hopefully now Bill has decided it's time for it to reappear. We can do some work with it, and
Absolutely.
I'm sure that anybody that encounters it will have some experience. I've known people that didn't want to have any experiences with it and did.
Oh, no kidding, yeah. And how'd that work out for him?
Shaken. Shaken, not stirred.
Sure.
I remember that one time we were there and somebody was said that he didn't believe in all this stuff about the skull, and really it was never shown him. He'd been coming there, he'd never seen anything phenomenal. And he had a drink in his hand at the time, and very slowly, with his own hand, with the glass of, I think it was some kind of deep red alcohol, he tipped it all over his lap.
Oh my goodness.
And he actually was sitting there watching his hand do it.
And he had no control on it.
I was in hysterics on the floor laughing because he had said, well, I've never seen it do anything, and I really don't believe in these kind of things. And he had this glass of, I don't know, red wine or something, and he just, his hand completely turned upside down, and he emptied it in all over his pants.
Oh my goodness.
And I couldn't talk when I could.
There's your sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Oh my goodness. And he probably didn't even recognize or really understand what just happened to him either, did he?
He was very white and speechless, trying to ask for a towel, but couldn't get any words out.
Oh, I could just imagine. Oh my goodness, that's funny. I was staring at him thinking, why are you doing this? But he had no control over it. No control.
Absolutely.
That's funny. That is so funny. And I'm sure he didn't say a word about it either afterwards, did he? He probably, yeah.
He kept saying, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I didn't do this.
That's funny.
Okay.
Fantastic. That was so fantastic. Well, Carole, is there anything else you'd like to add or say, to, tell people out there? Or, is there a message to all of it, you think? Yeah.
Well, yes, any rock, anything in your garden will tell you history. You just have to listen to it. Everything speaks to you. Plants, rocks, everything. Be aware. I think people often ask me, is the world going to end? And, where should I move to? And the answer is, be aware. You can be anywhere, but be aware. And that doesn't mean be paranoid. It means be aware of where you are and your surroundings, and that everything is communicating with you.
Wow.
You just have to be open to listening and translating that communication to make your life better.
Sure.
And everybody else's around you. That was one of the big messages, I think, from the skull, that this isn't a silent world. Everything communicates with you. And if you listen and you communicate with each other, very soon we will achieve something which we're all striving for. I think that's peace of mind.
Right.
I think true happiness is peace of mind. And once you have that, money becomes very immaterial. If you have peace of mind, it means you are able to enjoy your life and help others enjoy theirs.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I definitely agree with that 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the crystal skull.
Right.
Teaches, but it also enlightens, and yeah, people are skeptical about everything. I'm probably very skeptical too, but I learned to listen, which was not an easy thing for me to do. But there are so many things in archaeology that I wish they would take somebody that uses psychometry and just say, okay, tell us the true story. What's going on with this?
Right.
Communicate with this.
Right.
And I'm not special. I am not. Everybody has this whatever. We've just forgotten how to use it, and we live in such a world that it's really at the back of our minds. But I think I'll leave you with the idea that everything is communicating with you. Listen, it's going to tell you some wonderful things.
That's fantastic. I like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Awesome. Well, Carole, unless anybody there have any more questions for her, real quick, we got about, we've got 18 minutes, I think, left here in the whole show, so.
I'm speechless.
Me too, I am, Sharon. Yeah, I'm speechless too. Mike, what about you, buddy? You've been on here, you haven't, No. Tim?
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Why did John of God warn them to put it away for a while?
Oh, good question. Yeah, why were you guys told to put it away, Carole, or for a while, to sit on it?
No answer.
No, we got her. Yeah.
I don't know. I was not. I didn't learn that until today, actually.
Oh, okay. So that was one of Bill's things, and it happened to Bill.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
I think after Anna passed away, there was
Okay.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
I think that after Anna died, there was a lot of, where there's a will, there's a fight.
Right.
And I think that was part of it.
Okay.
And you have to realize there's also the negative element of people. Sammy encountered some really,
Oh, no doubt about that. Yeah.
In her time with quote psychics, and that was why when I first met her, she was dead set against anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that that Bill's life had actually been threatened. I would think that people would think twice about threatening him, seeing as he's a big martial arts person, and also his military record is pretty impressive. I think that people might think twice about challenging him, but the skull itself takes care of itself. Wow. It won't fall into the wrong hands. I did once. I very rarely asked it questions. I did ask it once. And that was what would happen if this fell into the wrong hands. And I witnessed it shattering like a windshield.
No, self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruct.
And I quickly took my hands off and looked again, and it cleared. But I thought, wow, it has a way of looking after itself.
Sure. Yeah, self-destruct. Yeah, why not?
It's like a computer. I mean, information showed me it would shadow within. More comfortable bringing the skull out, so it has its ways. And enlightened information is.
I'm having internet connections probably connect here as we're talking. So what's going on? Yeah.
This often. I called it permission. Was that okay with everybody? Other than that, nothing would work.
Wow.
Even, the cameras were off, frequency, earlier and magic, but now it's...
No, that's true. I really, really do went down and it's just, I tell you, it's just absolutely. It's just so in tune with you right now. No doubt.
Well,
Wonderful, thank you.
Carol. We'll make some changes. Yeah. I honestly.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, good night, good night.
I think we may have lost Mike also. And Carol. So, being this evening, but we appreciate you being with us.
Thank you very much. I'll say goodnight to everyone. Okay.
Sounds awesome, awesome. Well, the truth and nothing. Okay. Thanks for being here, Tim. Thank you very much. I got a storm rolling in. I don't happy. So I am just going to sign.